This time, it's a story about liars who make a perfect wedding a disaster. Let's get started. If you were betrayed by someone you care about, would you forgive them? It happened a long time ago, but I still get irritated when I think about it sometimes, so I want to let it out.
Yes, I can't forgive them because they're important to me. On the other hand, I don't feel anything when I'm betrayed by someone I don't care about. I love Izakoza. Let me explain in detail. My
fiancé, Eiji, and I met at work. It wasn't a big company, so there weren't that many employees, and Ao and I were one of the few people on the same plane. We naturally talked more, and when we found a common hobby, the distance between us grew even closer. We quickly became so close that we started going out just the two of us. Ao invited me out on a few dates, and then she confessed her feelings to me, but I wasn't sure how to respond. The dates were fun, and I didn't feel bad being with her, but I couldn't take the first step because of past trauma. In fact, I had broken off an engagement in the past because my fiancé had cheated on me. The bitter memories from that time made me a little suspicious of men. When I was struggling with how to respond to A, I decided to consult my childhood friend and best friend, Yumi and I have known each other since kindergarten and lived in the same neighborhood, so we used to hang out a lot until we went our separate ways in college. We were still close enough to meet up and talk regularly even after we became working adults. Yumi knew that I had been cheated on in the past, so I trusted her and told her my honest feelings. Actually, someone I've been interested in confessed their feelings to me recently, but I'm not sure how to respond. It reminded me of my ex-boyfriend who cheated on me. I was scared that something like that might happen again. Then Yumi listened to me like a normal person and gave me the push I needed to take the first step.
But Ichikai, you still like that person, right? Your ex-boyfriend and that person are different. Not all men cheat, so it's okay. And you both like each other, right? It's a miracle that you could fall in love with each other. If you like someone, you should trust them. If he does something unpleasant, I'll comfort Ichi, so he can rest assured and choose a path he won't regret.
Thanks to Yumi saying that, my anxiety disappeared and I decided to date Sake. After that, we didn't have any major fights and our relationship gradually deepened, and when I told her about our marriage, she was happy for me as if it were her own. And on the day of the wedding hall was full of relatives, work colleagues, me, and my English friends. Of course, Yu was among them. I used to see Yu regularly, but I had been busy preparing for the wedding and hadn't seen her in a while, so it had been a while since we last met. When I saw Yu for the first time in a while, her stomach was swollen and she looked pregnant. I was surprised to learn that Yumi was pregnant, as I hadn't heard anything from her. I really wanted to hear the details, but I couldn't talk much because of the ceremony schedule. The ceremony went according to plan, but an unexpected incident occurred halfway through. I
just couldn't stand this. I'm actually having an affair with a kun. I'm pregnant with a kun's child. I can't stand watching the wedding anymore. I can't stand the thought of losing the person I love to another woman.
Yu suddenly stood up, exposed Aeon's affair, and started crying. The moment I heard Ari's confession, I couldn't comprehend the situation and my mind went blank.
What? Seriously, what's with all of a sudden? I was just listening to Ichi's advice. I think it's terrible, but if his stomach is swollen, then maybe it's not a lie. If I were here, even Shira might enjoy it a little. It's fine if he's
having fun now, but the whole venue was silent.
Yumi and Ichi are childhood friends, right? Is it true that she's having an affair with her childhood friend's fiancé?
Is it some kind of prank? No one would do something like that at a wedding.
So does that mean it's true? Isn't that bad? The
guests were all confused. I was in a panic because Ari, who I thought was my best friend, suddenly exposed me like this at my own wedding. I couldn't understand the situation because I couldn't understand the meaning of Ari's words and actions. Yumi started talking while crying, like a tragic heroine.
A kun and I love each other. Although it ended up being an affair, our love is genuine. I want the baby in my womb to have a happy life, so I wanted to take responsibility as the child's father. That's why I can't agree to this marriage.
While she was crying and acting dignified, it was covered in sweat and sunshine, trying to keep his face straight. What do you mean? Is what Yumi just said true? And no. I didn't have an affair. That woman just said it on her own.
When Ao hurriedly denied it, Yu raised her voice and snapped. Why would you say such a terrible thing? Are you saying that I'm just that kind of person to you? I love you so much, so this is too much. Yumi screamed hysterically, then burst into tears. The
guests were confused because A and Yumi couldn't agree on what they were saying, and the atmosphere in the wedding hall became even more chaotic.
Which side is telling the truth? A works hard at his job, so I don't think he'd have an affair.
But Ari's belly is really swollen. I was also concerned about Yu's swollen belly, but I never imagined she was pregnant with Ao's child. A-kun wants me to raise this child all by myself. How awful, how awful. Even Yumari, who was crying dramatically, was crying in pain, and some of the guests who were there with her in the evening began to show up. Perhaps they noticed this and tried to invite her to the dojo even more. Yumi began to speak while crying, her expression almost like she was pushing people around. A-kun is the only one I have. Ichi is trying to steal A-kun away from me. He did it on purpose because he knew I liked A-kun. Ichi has always been the type to do things like that. I had no idea what he was talking about, so I was surprised when he turned to me. Huh? What are you talking about? You said I stole the guy Ari liked? That's
right. Ichi has always stolen the guys I've liked. Hey, I won't give you A-kun.
No, I don't remember doing anything like that. From my perspective, it's a good idea to try to steal A. Don't play the victim, give me back my sake. The wedding hall was in chaos, and even the staff trying to calm him down couldn't hold back Yu, who looked like he was about to go on a rampage. It had gotten so noisy that even the staff outside the room rushed over to see what was going on. Huh? When I looked in the direction of the voice, I saw one of the staff members who had rushed over, a part-time worker, with his eyes wide open in surprise. Huh? Why are you here? It turns out that part-time worker was Ari. And he was there too? It's annoying that he's acting like the victim when he's cheating on his wife too.
Of course, both you and the guests would panic. I can't accept the fact that my best friend and my fiancé were having an affair. I
never thought my best friend would ruin my important day. Yukura was getting mad at me for something I had no idea about, and then Ari's fiancé suddenly showed up, and I couldn't keep my head in the sand. In the middle of the wedding, my childhood friend Yu suddenly revealed that she had an affair with Ao and was pregnant with Ao's child. The wedding hall was thrown into a panic, and the staff outside the room rushed in due to the commotion. Coincidentally, one of the staff was Ari's fiancé, and the venue was thrown into even more chaos. By the way, how did Yu not know that her fiancé was working here? Apparently, she had been lying to me about working at Teruya while I was watching, so I didn't know about his part-time job here. I found out later that the part-timer had originally worked at Teruya, but had been fired. Apparently, he had been holding on to a high-paying bridal job and another part-time job, but he hadn't told me the truth because he had been lying. I don't understand. Why are you here? Today of all days, that's what I should be
saying. I could hear voices outside the room, but could it be that Yu was the one crying and screaming? Question mark.
Huh? Well, it seems that Yu was visibly flustered because her fiancé's appearance was unexpected. That's right. Yu said that my fiancé, Aeon, and I were in love, and that I was pregnant with Aeon's child. Is that true? What happened to my engagement? And no. That Yumi's swelling suddenly got worse, and I could see cold sweat breaking out in anticipation. The
appearance of the part-timer turned the tables on Yumi. Just expose Yumi's true nature. The
people who had been with Ari until now also turned their suspicions on Yumi after the appearance of the part-timer.
Huh? Didn't she say earlier that A-kun was the only one for her? So that was a lie?
Then she just ruined the wedding. What the worst?
So what's going on? Was it all Ari's lie?
Did she feel embarrassed by everyone's critical eyes? Yumi blushed and looked down.
Yumi, what's going on? Tell the truth.
Can't you think of an excuse? Yumi was awkwardly evasive the whole time. Why don't you say something too?
Huh? Oh, I've
been quiet the whole time. How much of Yumi's story is true and how much is a lie? It would be best if it was all a lie, but in this situation, it's hard to say for sure. We can't know the truth because A-kun hasn't said anything. Whenever I visited, A-kun's eyes would wander, his head would move, and he would act strangely. It's all a lie. He said he only loved me. Whenever A-kun said that, his face would always be all scrunched up. That's a
lie. A-kun said he loved me.
Oh, you have a fiancé too, right? Then it's better for both of us to keep quiet.
What do you mean it's better to keep quiet? It means there's something secretive that you can't tell anyone, right?
No, that was
just a slip of the tongue. Ao realized that she had let it slip, and sweat began to pour down her face again. So the affair was real after all. And that's not it. I never liked sake. But I only went along with it because he insisted. He said something completely different from what he said before the part-time worker showed up. Everyone in the venue looked at him coldly. What you just said is completely different. What do you mean? Even if you didn't
want to, you were still with him, right? That's definitely cheating. It's a
misunderstanding. Trust me, I love only you. You were just saying, Mae-kun, a moment ago. That's why you couldn't think of an excuse when I and the part-time worker were asking you about it at the same time? Yu's eyes wandered and he mumbled. When I gave him a devilish look, he was sweating coldly and looking around just like you. It's true that you cheated on me. If you weren't cheating, there's no need to panic like this. I was just surprised when you said, Yuaya. That's not the kind of relationship I have with Yumi, huh? You've been calling Yumi-chan, up until now, A-kun. When did you start calling her by her first name? My question seemed to hit the nail on the head for Ao. Panicked, A quickly covered her mouth. If you had nothing to hide, you could show her your smartphone, right? Even when I reached out to take his phone, AG turned away and refused to show it to me. His attitude was like saying he was cheating on me. I don't have anything embarrassing to say I'm not cheating, but I'm embarrassed to show him my phone. Doesn't anyone feel that way? You know this isn't the time to say that. If you're really not cheating, show me your phone as proof. Cornered, AG's face turned pale and he held his phone in his hand, struggling the whole time, but finally, as if he had finally cleared his stomach, he handed it to me. The moment he tried to take the phone. Oh no. My phone broke. A let out a loud, deliberate cry and dropped it into a glass of drink. He held his head and pretended to be troubled. But I quickly picked it up. The screen was still on, so I checked the contents. Huh? Why isn't it broken? Smartphones these days are waterproof, so they won't break if you drop them for a moment. Apparently, A was so troubled by being forced to show him his phone that he dropped it into the liquid and tried to break it. It seems like he didn't want to show me his phone that much. But AG's wish was in vain and he was safe. AO was back to being funny when he saw me checking the contents of his phone. That won't break it. Don't underestimate my efforts. It's dangerous to break your phone just because you don't want to show evidence of cheating. That's crazy. I never thought he would go that far, so I was really surprised. When I checked the messaging app, all the conversations with Yumi were still there. The
hotel last night was the best. When can we meet again?
I had a lot of fun too. Let's go to that hotel again. I wonder if we'll meet again next week.
Me. I love you, AG. Who was better, me or Ichi?
Question mark. Of course it was Arimi. Don't ask me that now. I know. Anger welled up inside me as I watched the two of them talk. I was more sensitive to cheating than most people because of my past engagement due to cheating. Even though I had told Sake and Arimi about it, I was shocked to find out that they had both cheated. But my anger at him for betraying me was much stronger than that. Even though I was shaking with anger, I filmed the conversation between the two of them on my smartphone and got the evidence. When I get too angry, my mind clears and I was able to leave solid evidence. What's going on with this conversation? It's okay to say he cheated on me, right? Ao tried desperately to think of an excuse, but couldn't think of one, so she just stammered. I showed AG to the part-time worker. You seem to be enjoying it quite a bit too. It's a lie that you only went along with it because you had no choice. The part-time worker looked at you with cold, dismissive eyes. And you were both attacked, and they were trembling, either scared or anxious, and breaking out in a cold sweat. Why did you do this? I thought you were my best friend, but I can't forgive you.
Because Ichi always steals the people I like, so I thought I'd steal them away this time. You
said something similar earlier, but I have no idea.
Ha. Almost all the people I've liked have confessed to me at the same time. Ichi must have been flirting with them. There's no way I would do something like that.
Besides, I'm not dating anyone that you liked. To summarize Yu's story, it seems that when she found out that the guy she liked had confessed his feelings to her, she assumed that I had stolen the guy she liked from her. Yumi misunderstood that I had used my charms and tricks to steal the guy she liked, but in reality, that wasn't the case at all. I hadn't even made a move on her, and she had rejected her confession. But ever since that incident, Yumi had always hated me and had been thinking about getting revenge on me someday. It was a bit of a shock that Yumi, who I had always thought we were close, thought this way. Apparently, Yumi had been planning to ruin Ao and, if possible, the wedding, ever since I had discussed whether to accept Eiji's confession. I heard later that Yu's true love was the part-time worker, and that she had planned to dump Ao after ruining the wedding. So Yumi didn't want the part-time worker to know about Aeon at all costs, but unfortunately, the part-time worker was working at the wedding, so her plan was a complete failure. All of her plans and intentions ended up in the part-time worker's hands. It's all your misunderstanding, isn't it? You're the worst for arbitrarily assuming that it's Ichi-san's fault and doing this to her. No, it's not. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Why am I acting like I'm the bad guy? Yu collapsed to her knees in tears as the part-time worker looked at her in disbelief. So,
Whose child is that in the womb? Earlier, she said it was Yana's child, but she told me it was mine. Which one is true? It's
true that she had physical relations with both of them. Whose
child is it? Yumi has been saying inconsistent things since earlier, so I can't tell what's true anymore. It was true that Aeon cheated, but with the part-time worker's appearance, it became unclear who the father of the baby in the womb was. The guests were also confused, and now they started making a fuss about who the father of the baby in the womb was. At that moment, I was exploding with anger at the two of them for betraying me and cheating. Then I'll call the old men and take care of the two of you. Hey, don't say that. I decided to call Yu's parents, Sofu. When I started calling Yu's house, Yu, who didn't like the strict Sofubo, tried to run away in a panic, but her stomach had to be changed and her dress was tangled, so she couldn't move properly and was quickly caught by the part-timer.
Where are you going? This isn't over yet.
Tell me, you tried to
escape from the part-timer's hands by struggling, but she quickly got tired because she was so busy and reluctantly gave up. At that moment, her in-laws, who had been preventing the staff from approaching Yu because they thought she might get violent, arrived and pinned her down. By the way, it seems that my parents couldn't move from the back seat because it was a tradition.
What did you do to me? Apologize to Ichi. Yu was the one who
invited her first. Just as she was about to say that, Gifu jumped out of the way. It
doesn't matter who came first. The fact that she cheated doesn't change. Aren't you reflecting on your actions and being sincere? I'm sorry.
Eiji was surprised when Gifu did it again and acted like an adult and apologized to me.
If Sutaka is truly sorry, he should do a full body bow. He's so
arrogant. Is he a big shot? Isn't my father-in-law caught in a blizzard? I
think he probably had a lot of things he wanted to say when the staff stopped him. Maybe that's why the wind was raging. He was yelled at again and got scared, so Hyde hurriedly bowed down. His in-laws also bowed down to me next to Hyde. I'm
really sorry for the trouble my foolishness caused. I'll make him
pay compensation or whatever and make him reflect on his actions. Compensation. I can't pay that. Shut up. I'm
sorry. He was struck by lightning again from Gifu and his nutrition plummeted. He seemed to be quite scared, and he kept his head down and shivered for a while. A little while later, while Yu and the part-time worker were arguing about trying to escape, Arimi's grandmother-in-law, whom I had called, arrived. I had explained the situation to Yu's grandmother-in-law over the phone, so she was already angry when I arrived at the wedding venue. The moment Yu saw Sofubo, Her face turned pale and she began to tremble. Sofubo was so angry that even from a distance, her whole body was filled with anger. When she came right in front of Ari with incredible force, she shouted at him. I heard you ruined Ichi-san's wedding, didn't you? I don't remember raising a child who would do such a terrible thing. Quote, Yumi was shaking and frightened, and when Mini Sofu struck her with lightning, she must have been so scared that she started crying. Don't
Cry. Do you think you'll be forgiven if you cry? Apologize to Ichi-san properly. It's
not like I'm sorry. I'm sorry too. I'm sorry too. I'm sorry. Yumi burst into tears after being made to kneel down by Sofubo's mother. There was no way the ceremony could continue, so we apologized to the guests and sent them home. Fortunately, Ao and I hadn't registered our marriage yet, so we only had them sign the form demanding compensation. I thought that A and U might run away or make excuses and not sign again, so I took them to our new home with their parents and made them sign the compensation application form right away. Perhaps because they were being watched by their parents, both of them signed it. Once they were safely signed, we quickly parted ways that day. I'm glad that my in-laws and my parents are reliable people. I want them to reflect on this and reflect on it. Yu was so selfish that it pissed me off.
I was also shocked that he would be fooled by such a woman. Ruining a wedding is a terrible act, and I don't think he'll be invited to anyone's wedding ever again. Do you know what happened after that? I hope he gets punished properly.
And Yu paid the compensation in one lump sum. Apparently, Yu's child, which had been unclear, was discovered to be Otto's child based on the pregnancy calculation. Apparently, she had been having a period of sexlessness with Beto-kun and got pregnant around that time. Apparently, she broke up with Beto-kun and got married to Otto. Beto-kun also demanded compensation, and she couldn't pay it with her savings, so she took out a loan. Apparently, the alimony was reduced a little bit because the part-timer had lied about the money, but the child was born safely. But it seems that Yu's grandparents, who were worried about Yu's ability to raise the child, are keeping an eye on Yu and raising the child together. Apparently Yumi couldn't keep up with the debt repayments with just one job, so she started working 2 jobs. But I heard that she's having a really hard time raising the child while working 2 jobs. Since the child dressed flashily, she didn't have the money to spend on that, and it seems that she's also mentally exhausted. As for Soku, he invited people from the company to the wedding, so it was difficult for the news of his affair to get out to the others, so he quit his job. People thought he was working hard, but apparently he was just good at making it look like he was. In fact, it was discovered that he had been pushing work onto a clean-cut junior employee while pretending to work hard, so he couldn't actually do his job, and he made a series of big mistakes at his new job, and he was fired during his employment period. In addition to the alimony he had to pay me, he was also asked to pay alimony to the part-timer, and he apparently took out other loans to pay them. It seems like he wants to get a job soon to pay back the debt, but he's having trouble finding one. I heard he's barely making ends meet by juggling day labor jobs. It seems like his married life with Yumi isn't going well at all. They're having a hard time because they're constantly fighting and both of them are stressed out. I heard from a friend that they might break up, even though he said things that were so far from the truth. As for me, I've found a new hobby and I'm enjoying my work and personal life. I have more free time and money, and I'm enjoying my life on my own now. It's exactly what they say, those who chase second place never lose first place. Oh, I'm so glad that your life seems to be fulfilling. Good job on your job. It must have been tough, so I hope you'll be happy. I can't really talk about this in real life, so it's nice to hear someone listen to it. Thank you. It was a story about a fiancé who shifts the blame and a selfish affair. Do you know anyone who lies to save money? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching.